Howdy folks, Nathan Adlin here with the Fast Lane Car, and this is the 2017 Buick LaCrosse. This is an entry-level luxury vehicle, a large one at that. And I have a question for you. What's happened to these cars? Sales numbers are not what they used to be, and coming up next we're going to show you this car and we're going to try to answer that question. Behold, a 3.6 liter V6 that puts out 310 horsepower and 282 pound-feet of torque. Now for some of you, you might actually recognize this engine because it goes inside of a Camaro. That's right, a Camaro V6. Basically the same engine, and it is fantastic. Really good power, passing power is fantastic. It's quick, it's surprising. It's hooked up to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, regularly, you can get it in a front-wheel drive vehicle, but this is actually available with all-wheel drive. Looks like it's only letting me go up to about 1900 RPM, 1800 RPM. Okay, so here we go, away we go. There it goes, yeah. Shifts are very mellow. 8.9 seconds, 8.09. Last thing I'm gonna do, traction control off. I'm going to try the paddle shifting. Okay, and away we go. Okay, I'm using the paddle shifters and I'm going just over red line. Okay, 7.9. Now usually this system is the other way around. Usually the computer can outthink you and shifts at an optimum RPM. But in this case, I guess going slightly over red line means the paddle shifters have do their job. They have a reason for existing. That's great. Now this vehicle, the Buick LaCrosse, has actually enjoyed great sales since 2009 combined. That's because they built over 900,000 of these things. However, 2016, if you take the entire year and combine the sales of this vehicle, combined, it's less than 1 month for the Chevy Silverado. All of these sales combined, 1 month, Silverado. But this segment, these large cars, and this is including vehicles like Chevy Impala, the Chrysler 300, the Dodge Charger, the Hyundai Azera, the Toyota Avalon, all of those vehicles are actually dwindling in sales just a little bit. And it's a curious thing because these were so popular so recently. Let me explain what I'm on about when it comes to this vehicle and why I'm a little confused about how the sales just in general haven't been spectacular. My father used to own cars like this. I grew up with cars like this. Big Lincolns, big Fords, big Cadillacs, big Buicks. And they always filled a bit of a gap between high-end luxury and entry-level luxury. Why can't they sell more of these? Well, I actually figured one of them out when I was trying to get into the car. Now, for those of you who watch TFL Truck, you may notice that all of us are pretty big boys, and getting in and out of vehicles like big trucks, piece of cake. Getting in and out of a crossover or an SUV, pretty damn easy for most people. And as a matter of fact, a lot more easy than getting in and out of a car. And that's because you're actually scooching your butt over and getting into the seat as opposed to falling into the car. When I got into this one just now, right before we started turning cameras on, hit my head right there. You know, I could see an awful lot of people really liking crossovers because they're just simply comfortable, easy to get in and out of, and easy to drive. Now this vehicle comes with 18-inch wheels, but you can get them with 20-inch wheels. And when you do that, it really does change the way the whole thing looks. It's much more aggressive, it's contemporary. Looks like grandma's got a brand new bag when you put those big wheels on. However, it rides better with the smaller wheels, that's right. Now, the overall design reminds me a lot of the Chevy Impala, which I like already. It's sleek. I really like the lines. I really like the character lines along the side and the rear hump over the rear wheel. It's exquisite. Beautifully done. Well done, General Motors. Well done, Buick. The only thing I have a problem with is harking back to the past yet again with the 3 holes on the side, the portholes. It's an old Buick thing. I don't really see the need for it. They're not functional, obviously. And it just looks like it's almost an afterthought. And with the rest of the car looking so clean, I don't know, I think it mucks up the design. This interior is fantastic. You could not get an interior like this in a crossover or an SUV. Because even though you're sitting deep in the car, everything is laid out beautifully, very easy to reach. There are a couple minor issues in terms of reach and all that other stuff, and one of them is this. The gear lever, this paddle, I'm not a big fan. It's following the trend that's been set up by the Germans in order to confuse drivers who are used to having a mechanical gear lever. I don't understand the point of this, but overall performance of this car is fantastic. I think it's the strongest suit. It handles great. The ride is fantastic. And the acceleration is perfecto. I like it all. Now, starting prices are actually pretty reasonable at around $32,900, but realistically, you're not going to get a decent one for under $35,000. This vehicle, which has almost every option checked, comes out to nearly $49,000. That is a lot of money for a Buick when you can get the equivalent, nearly the equivalent, for a little bit less, even from its cousin, the Chevrolet. However, amongst all the vehicles it competes against, this is one of the few vehicles that has all-wheel drive. So that's a plus. And another plus, this engine, it's so sweet. Ugh, mwah, love it. Love this V6. I think it's one of the best V6s currently being made. The rest of the car, well, okay, I think I figured out, as I mentioned before, one of the reasons why people are starting to look at SUVs and crossovers, and that partially has to do with the fact that you scoot your butt in as opposed to fall in. And with this vehicle, you really have to crawl into it in order to get into it. What can I say? If that's the only reason why people are driving SUVs and crossovers, I think it's kind of a sad reason. The bottom line is this is still king of the road. It still handles great, and it has a fantastic ride. Thanks for joining me. For the Fast Lane Car, this is Nathan Adlin. Don't forget to go to tflcar.com for news, views, real-world reviews, and remember, we like to read your comments. And I'm sure a few of you have something to say about this vehicle, so please write it below. See you next time.